Hello, gals. This is Mariah Young, your CEO of the Gals community. And I am hopping on today to start the month of April with the Discover You. So I am curious, how well do you know yourself? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that today. Here we go. All right, hop right in. Please feel free to say hello. I would love to know where you're from. And today I'd love to know, how well do you know yourself? So, this question comes from my own story. I've shared with you guys before, and I'll kind of put it in a nutshell today, but about, I actually need to go back and look at the dates. I think it's actually been anywhere between 7 to 9 years now when I first discovered that I was struggling with depression. And it was a really, I know some people are like, how did you not know that you were, dealing with depression? Well, part of the reason was because I didn't really know myself that well. I had been doing everything for everybody else. I hadn't been doing anything really for myself. And when I finally realized it, it was actually about the time that Robin Williams took his own life. And his story was shared about how, he always seemed like the happy go lucky person, outgoing, just fun. And yet behind closed doors, that wasn't who he was. And that was my eye opener because that's exactly who I was. I was a leader. I had done many, many things with my life. My marriage was good. My kids were awesome. There were so many things in my life to be thankful for. And yet, behind closed doors, I was constantly sabotaging myself. Now, there's a lot more layers and, depth to this story. And, I do share it from time to time. But what it really came down to, one of the major layers of the issues that I was having, along with getting help and, putting some things in place, I took some medication for a little while, and no shame in that, by the way, no shame in getting help. I highly recommend it. But along with that was realizing, like, when I thought about who I wanted to be and what I wanted to build with my life, a huge glaring aha moment was, I don't even know who I am. Who is Mariah? I always said and just kind of joke, like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but it was way bigger than that. It was, I just didn't know who the heck I was as a woman, not as a wife, as a mom, as my work or whatever. I just didn't know who I was at all. What did I enjoy? What did I want to do? Who do I identify as far as, like, my awesomeness? I honestly just didn't know. So I feel that there are 3 steps in a self-love journey. And I have kind of created a fourth, but we're not going to talk about that today because that is a completely different step. But in a basic self-love journey, I think it is really important to, one, discover you and give yourself permission to be who you are. 2, to get help, to dump the junk. It doesn't always have to be, like, maybe you've been going to counseling and you're like, okay, I've been going to counseling for 3 years and I'm still in the same place. Sometimes that can be coaching. It can be mentorship. It can come in many different ways, books, podcasts, etc. There's a lot of ways that you can dump the junk. And then third is designing your ideal life. Now, they don't go in that exact order. It's not like it's a do this, then do this, then do this. They kind of go together, right? As you start to discover yourself, you kind of just naturally start to design your life, because when you discover your deal breakers and non-negotiables, for example, you might say, you know what? I need to get a different job. This job just does not fit who I am. It doesn't align with my values. There's so many reasons why that might be a good choice for you, right? Or maybe you do love your job, but maybe you've determined that, okay, I am not willing to continue to work super long hours doing everything for everyone just because I love the work that I'm doing. And that is taking away from my family, right? So, having the conversation with your boss of like, hey, I would love to stay here. I love what I do, but I just can't keep working this way. Or I need this boundary to be put up, or whatever that looks like for you. And that is designing your ideal life. There's a lot of factors in all of these. So, one way that has been very, very helpful for me to learn more about myself is with personality profiles. Now, let me give this caveat. They are not to pigeonhole you, not at all. Sometimes we don't know ourselves so well. Like, we are really good at not knowing ourselves, is what I'm saying, that we actually are working from a negative space. Like if we look at the ground, for example, instead of standing from the ground and working up, oftentimes, especially if you're dealing with mental illness, depression, some of these things, we're actually in a hole. We're not even on level ground. So sometimes those personality profiles and tests and things that are out there and available actually just help us to have an actual baseline. For example, when I took, I've taken many personality tests, and I just happened to be in a leadership class. And this was a part of my story into how I discovered that I didn't know myself. And we were taking a test, and there were several things that came up like half and half. I was both extroverted and introverted, where that actually can be a thing. I now know. At the time, it was, there were just things that did not resonate with me. In my strength finders, I was like, they give you your top 5 when you buy the book for free. And I was 4 analytical and only 1 relationship. And I was like, okay, this is not resonating with me at all. I know I'm way more relational. I am such an includer. I love people. Like, there were several things in there that I was like, okay, I can be analytical. I can do admin type jobs, but that doesn't mean I should. And that doesn't mean that that's going to be where I'm going to thrive and feel like I am, soaring and flying and loving what I do. So why was that happening? So those personality assessments, behavior, strength finders, like I've taken so many of them, just helped me to see like, oh, something's just not right. It's not feeling right. So that's why I love them. Not for pigeonholing, not for saying, oh, well, you're this personality, so you have to do these things. No, that's never true. What is true is that you might be somebody who is a very driven person amongst a bunch of people who are not so driven. And that is what you function as every single day. And where you can be that way, you can be, content and satisfied and fulfilled. You're still always going to have that piece of you. And you might even fight it a little bit of like, okay, I just need more. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So I really am a huge believer in these types of tests, but I like them for self-awareness purposes. So there's so many out there. I personally love and of course sell the DISC, which it's an acronym, DISC, driven, interactive, steady, and creative. And now we actually put birds to those. So that is actually an eagle, parrot, dove, and owl. So I love those. I love strength finders. You just buy the book. It's on Amazon. I feel like it's like $20. And you get a free test with that. And that'll tell you your strengths. Those are awesome. There is the creativity type, totally free. It's an Adobe product. You can just Google the creativity type and you can just take that test. There are the 16 personalities, and I think I was the INFJ, which is the protagonist. I think it's the protagonist. Yes. All of these can be really useful tools, and that's just what they are. They're tools to help you to learn more about yourself. And anytime you take any kind of personality test or quiz or assessment or any of those things, there's a really great way to look at those. And a really great question to ask, which is, does this resonate with me? Because the truth is, it's just a computer program, right? It can get it wrong. Or you can also be in the frame of mind. Like, for example, we often get people who take these at work. Well, your frame of mind at work might be different than your frame of mind at home. Hopefully not, but that often happens. And so we like you to try and take those kinds of tests in a frame, in a different frame of mind. So I have someone who says that they like you to take it in a frame of mind that you've been on vacation for like 6 months. And I really do like that because, when you go on a vacation for like a week, you spend the first 2 days kind of just getting used to being in the flow of vacation. You had to work really hard to get on vacation in the first place, right? Because you probably had to answer emails, do all these things just to get on vacation. And then 2 days at the end of your vacation, you start to get back in okay, I got to go back to work. So a week is not a long enough time for you to get in a fully settled way of thinking, right? So I do like the 6 months. But the other one is, what is most like you? What is most not like you? Those are easy things to just think about wherever you are, right? And again, if you're like me, I didn't know who I was. So it was actually a really hard thing for me to do. It's a hard thing for me to take personality tests at the time because I really had to is this how I act? Is that how I act? And I really was a different person kind of everywhere I go. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the range of you. So understanding your personality, understanding those around you. And I'm sorry if you know me, I profile people all the time. I can't even help it anymore. I was talking with a CIA agent recently. We just happened to be at the same place and we were talking and I was like, so we both profile people, but for very different reasons. And she just laughed and she's like, yes. And I'm like, so what things do you notice about people? And it was a very interesting conversation. What things do you look for? And you just can't help it. Once you see it and you know it, you can't help it. But then being able to, yes, we adapt our personality. We don't change our personality. We are who we are, but we do adapt and we have a range of us. So, sometimes people will be like, well, you're not being yourself. Well, there are times to be very loud and fun and have a great time. Like when you go out to an 80s night, right? You're going to be loud. You're going to have fun. You might be really bold. It's a fun time. But if you're going to, let's say, a funeral, you're not going to be that way. If you were, it would be weird and probably rude. So we do have a range of who we are, and we can tap into a multitude of that range. That's very different than being a different person. When I took this, I took several different tests and I was in this leadership group that I was talking about earlier. I was literally being a different person in every situation. And so that really fed into as well why I didn't know myself that well. So I love this piece for getting to know yourself. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself, just so that you guys can see how I have allowed myself and I've given myself permission to fully be me. I am a parrot or high I. There's several other personality things in the Strength Finders. I think I have like 3 relational now because I did retake it, and like 2 analytical. I am very much a people person. I'm an includer. They have a word called woo. I love just being with people. I don't always even have to like interact with the people. I just like being around people. But I love talking to people too. That is just like something I enjoy doing. I also love beautiful things. I used to feel guilty about that. I love decorating. I used to think everything had to be functional. Uh, I wouldn't allow myself to enjoy beautiful things because I just thought, oh, well, it's going to break or it's going to get dirty or it's this. And I was thinking from a function mindset, but I'm not a functional mindset person. I am a person who loves creativity and beauty around me. And there is nothing wrong with that. And in fact, there's nothing wrong with thinking of things in a functional way. That's just not my personality. That was actually my husband's personality. And I just thought that was the right way to go. I was living in his ways of thinking. Now he's come more to my ways of thinking. We can have both function and beauty. I'm giving myself permission to be bold, confident, know that I am beautiful, and I love feeling beautiful. It doesn't have to feel like I'm being materialistic because I like to wear big earrings or I like to have a diamond pen to write with. I can give myself full permission to be me. And let me tell you, being me has opened my eyes to help me see opportunities around me that did not present themselves before because I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready to go and be an MC at a large event. I wasn't ready to make sure that I speak up for myself so that I can make sure that whatever situation I'm getting into fits me. I was afraid to speak up for myself, to advocate for myself. And instead, now I've given myself permission to fully express myself anywhere I go. I don't mind showing up in bright blue when everyone else is wearing black or beige. I don't mind wearing the big earrings. I don't mind loving everything that I put on me, that I surround myself with, that I do. I actually don't even mind. This is kind of funny because in some ways, we might say I'm doing the same thing to my husband that he was doing to me that he didn't mean to do, but he was. But I don't mind saying, hey, I love seeing you dressed up. It is something I enjoy. I'm a very visual person in every way. How about we go get you some really great looking shirts? I know this about myself. I have now learned it. I have fully accepted it. I've given myself complete permission to be me. I have accepted, I have received, and I have started living. And I can't think of the word that I'm trying to say, but I have started being the person that I have other people tell me that I am. And that's a big one. Oftentimes when we get compliments, like you're so, you have so much energy, or you do so many things, or you're so talented, or you're so this, we can be like, oh yeah, thanks, and we don't accept it. But I reached out, gosh, this has been a few years ago. And I did the hard thing of asking people, what are the words that you think of when you think of me? That is a very vulnerable thing to do. However, I actually think it's a very important thing to do because we never look at ourselves as amazingly as other people look at us. I guarantee it. And the fear is a fear of rejection. Like, oh my gosh, what if somebody puts out something negative? They won't. And if they do, which they won't, but if they do, let me just go in this circular argument. If they do, but they won't, delete it. Who cares? They're stupid. And I don't even care about saying that. I will generalize that statement. But the words that I got were exuberant, stunning, gorgeous, full of life. I can't remember all the words, but they were words like that. And instead of shirking them off, oh, ha, 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 no, no, that false humility that we can also have, I received them fully. I accepted them fully. I want you ladies to be your full selves. I want you to be able to fully, 100%, completely be you. You will be amazed at the opportunities that present themselves when you begin to do that. The purpose that will come into your life. The things that you may not have ever seen before because you weren't ready for them. You weren't ready. Those things happen when you begin to fully be yourself. I cannot tell you, because I've been there. I've been in the place where you're not yourself. You don't know who you are. I fully understand what that feels like. So 100%, I want for you to be able to have that, because it really, truly, it opens up the whole world. It opens up your life. When we tell our kids that the whole world is their playground, what if that was for us? Just because we grow up, just because we get older, doesn't mean that that stops for us. We tend to tell those things to our kids. We need to tell that to us. Turn that arrow around, that finger around, and point to you. And yes, Don Renee, I am speaking to you. Yes, I 100% want this for you guys. So I'm not saying you have to go out and take a personality test. However, I will go ahead and link some free stuff, some paid stuff. And listen, I do a Design Your Ideal Life consultation. I try to make it very simple and easy. It's $48. I can pretty much guarantee you, because I've been doing this for a little bit now, that I can send you off with 3 steps. You will get your DISC personality, or your ideal life, your Design Your Ideal Life assessment. You'll get a consultation with me. It's a 30-minute to 40-minute consultation. I'm not super strict about that. And you're going to get 3 steps for the next things to do to bring out your awesome sauce, to design your ideal life. So I will put links to all of those in here later. I did not do them ahead of time. I apologize. But the reason I put this out there, I tend to work with a completely different community right now. I am helping them to, build the things that they want to build. And where I think my heart is, many of us aren't building businesses. We're not entrepreneurs. We're not trying to build an empire or, do these things. We just want to have an amazing life, right? We want to be able to live the way we want to live. And yet, if you're not an entrepreneur, oftentimes you don't get this kind of teaching. We get it all the time in the entrepreneurial coaching, blah, blah, blah world. I want to bring this to everybody. And again, even at the prices, if you're a business owner, you're going to invest in your business and you can write it off as a business write-off. So you're used to paying several $100s to get into a coaching investment. That's why I have put together my Design Your Ideal Life consultation, because I want you to be able to invest in yourself and be able to design your ideal life without it being this gigantic, believe me, I've paid a lot for coaching, $5,000 thing. So I love helping women. I want you to be able to discover your true self, dump the junk, and design your ideal life. I am going to be putting together some more things, some little booklets and different things through Gals, planners, all kinds of fun stuff, because I really, truly want this for you guys. So I'm trying to make some very simple things that you guys will be able to implement and play with and have fun. And along with that, we have our new welcome sequence. So welcome, new members, woo woo. But also, for those of you who've been around for a while, please go ahead and sign up. We have a fun little form. I actually made it really fun. It's really quick and easy. It takes like 5 seconds. Give us the contact information that you want to give us, and we're not going to spam you. We're actually going to send you fun mail. Patty Lynn and I, another director in here, our connections director, put together some really beautiful letters for you. We've made some fun cards helping you to learn how to engage and connect in Gals. And we've made some fun stickers. So, yay! Please go ahead. And Don Renee, thank you so much. I really do love you, friend. And yes, it is my heart and my passion to work with women to be able to do all these things that we talked about. So thank you so much. Feel free to reach out. You can, of course, message me. You can put your questions or comments in this video, and I will answer them. So I am paying attention, and I would love to interact with you guys and hear what you have to say. So have a fantastic rest of your day. And guys, live creatively. All right. Till next week. Whoa, I lost my stuff. Bye.